So as soon as your box arrives, you want to take it outside, and then as quickly as you possibly can, unpack them, make sure you label them up, and then put them in a bucket of water overnight. And that's all you've got to do for the first 12 hours. There we go. It's late, but I'm excited. So they are in their water already. So you can see the roots are lovely and submerged. Oh, there's one there. Let's just make sure we tuck that down. That's better. So when you get your bare root, unpack it, and you'll see that the leaves are looking a little bit sorry for themselves because they don't have any water. They're thirsty. And the stems, they are not as firm as they will be once they've had a soak. So first thing to do is pop that in a bucket of water for about half a day. I did mine overnight, it was much easier. If you are doing this in the daytime, don't leave them in the sun, especially in the greenhouse, but don't leave them in the sun. The sun will wilt the leaves. And then this is after soaking, and you can probably see how much firmer these stems are now, and the leaves look in better condition. Much better. So the next thing to do is to pot them up. Now you're going to need at least a 2 litre container. That is a 2 litre container, and actually that does fit quite well. Just depending on the shape of the roots, you might even need a 3 litre container. Better to have more space than not enough. So here I've got a 3 litre container because that is what the plant is telling me that it needs, and I don't want to trim any of the roots off. So I'm just going to pop the plant in the centre as much as I can, and then just fan the roots out. You can just tuck them down, and then I'm going to fill in all around with compost while I hold it here in the middle. There we go. So I'm using my tray so I don't get compost everywhere. And the compost will give the plant the support it needs to stand up. They are quite heavy plants, aren't they? Excellent. If you want to use an even bigger pot than this, then you can, especially if you're going to be keeping them on the patio. But this should be big enough for overwinter. There we go, firm that in all around. And then leave a gap so that you can water the plant. If you fill it right to the brim, when you come to water, that will add volume to the pot and the compost will all spill over the sides. You can always come back and top the compost up later if you want to, or if you need to. So this is a 5 litre, just to show you the difference. So 5 litre still fits it quite well, can you see? So you can pop them in a 5 litre container if you don't want to bother potting them on in the spring, but to my mind it's much better to use a slightly smaller pot and then change the pot and the compost in the spring. It also takes up less room in the garden, especially if you've got a few. So this is a 3 litre pot size. That is brilliant. I'm not going to go any smaller because the pot's not going to be tall enough, and the rootstock will end up sitting proud of that. So you want them nicely tucked in. So 3 litre container, and then I'm going to take that back out and just put some compost in the bottom first. There we go. Tuck the roots in. Now they've had a good drink, now they're rehydrated, they're actually a lot more solid and flexible. And then what I'll do is I'll let them settle in first, and then in a couple of days I will trim them up, and I can show you how to do that. But for the time being, I think they've been through enough. So you can see that I'm actually using shop-bought compost, and I did actually, which is unusual for me, give my containers a wash, because these are our special perennial plants, and these are all certified, protected, virus-free, so they've come in perfect condition. I want to keep it like that. I don't want anything in my pots, no bugs, no diseases, no nothing going near my precious plants. Look at that. Fabulous. There we go. And you are going to want to label these, because They are going to lose their leaves and berries over the winter. So you can tell what they are now. If you've got a few berries, you might be able to see, but you might not be able to see in the spring. That happened to me because it's deciduous. So they're going to drop. The berries are not going to stay here. So label them now while you know what they are. Otherwise it's really annoying. And then you have to leave them in the pot until they start fruiting. So not even flowering, until they start fruiting before you know what colour they are. So label them up. Oh, look at that. You can see new shoots coming already, look. And if you can't see those yet, just give them a couple of weeks. Give him a good old watering in. And then these I think I will take up to the terrace because it's nice and sheltered, but it's outside. And I've got plants that have done very well there already. So that was a good watering to settle the compost this time, but don't water it as much next time. Lift the pot. If the pot's nice and heavy like that is, don't water it. Now if you've got loads of plants to do, it might be easier if you just set yourself up a tray of water. Otherwise it could be hours before you get to do the watering, or you've got to keep stopping. So set yourself up a tray of water and then just let them sit in the tray of water while you get on with the next one. You can see the water is crystal clear again. Don't use rainwater, not until they've got established. Just going to look after them like a seedling. Now while the plants get established and put out some lovely new roots, you just want to keep them out of beautiful sunshine like this and the breeze. You'll be able to see their leaves blowing there, and that is removing water. That's speeding up transpiration. There we go. They are much happier there. They've got enough light, but not direct sunshine. And you can see how much more sheltered that is. The leaves are barely moving at all now. So fast forward, it has now been 6 days since these plants were first put into a bucket of water to rehydrate, and look at the transformation. Absolutely amazing. So don't worry about the leaves. You can see that these at the top are looking glossy and lovely, but you're going to get really beautiful brand new leaves coming through in the spring. But because it's so mild, look at that, you can see all the buds shining bright. So the new foliage will be absolutely perfect. And over winter, they're going to lose this foliage and these berries anyway. So don't look after them too much, don't keep them too warm, because you want to be able to plant them out first thing in the spring without any need to harden them off. And the next video coming up will be about just giving them a quick prune.